Hello!
Good afternoon.
Welcome to Cerebral Excavations with Quinn.
And Owen.
And today we will be analyzing orange conceptually, rhythmatically,
Yes.
socio-economically, and of course,
Geo-Politically.
of course. So, the first question you might be asking is, orange.
Yeah.
What? That's a fruit? It's a color?
It's a color. It is.
It's a political movement.
It is. And it's really, if we delve into it, a way of life.
Absolutely. Delving.
We really dig into it. So let's get started. We can really just work through the list, I think, here. And
Absolutely.
we have a lot to really look into.
We do.
If we look at orange as a social construct, quite frankly, we can look at it in historic terms, too.
Absolutely.
And delve into the connotations that has had throughout different cultures throughout the world, and the histories between them, and really where that stems from, and what we're looking at as a whole.
Yeah. I couldn't have put that better myself. So, just to begin the cerebral excavation, through the lens of the color orange and geopolitically. Now, this is honestly a tale of civil disobedience, Western transition. It's a dynastic symbol, constitutional monarchies, absolute monarchies, sectarianism, national cohesion, and iconography. So, obviously, just this one portion is very interesting.
Absolutely, and let's dig right into it. I mean, really starting with the Independence Square. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, so in 2005 and 2006, obviously, we all know that Yushchenko was taking power in Ukraine.
Exactly.
And obviously, all of us know that that meant the Orange Revolution.
Yes.
And the transition into the European Union, or at least drawing closer ties to the European Union. What an interesting spot to start with the color orange.
Well, I really thought we'd just really get right into it there really, with some of those deeper meanings.
The Orange Revolution.
The Orange Revolution, yeah, I think from a historical lens, of course, certainly. Because if we look at really what orange means to a lot of different people, it's really going to depend on what that lens we look at it means. And so we have these different people, these different experiences, and when we look at the historical context, I think it's even important that even just names as like the Orange Revolution are going to have those connotations with certain people.
Absolutely. And I think Yushchenko's movement chose orange as their color to represent themselves because there's a dog outside.
There's a dog outside.
Because it's throughout history, and honestly, it seems to be some kind of iconography of a new dawn, almost.
Yeah, I can say that. Almost like a sunrise. The way
Yes, a
is
sunrise.
orange too. And we could, 100%. And really, it's sort of an energetic and rebellious sort of a color, quite frankly. Throughout history, we can see that throughout multiple things, especially.
Yeah, most definitely. And then moving from Ukraine into the Netherlands, the Dutch have, as we all know, since 1907, used orange as their primary color on all of their soccer kits or football to the European mind. And then for the last roughly 400 years, most other sports of theirs were represented through the color orange. Now, this is really interesting because this stems from the House of Orange, or William Orange II, who actually was one of the first, I apologize, was considered the father of the fatherland in the Netherlands, and used this play on words of his last name to represent his country, which I think is really interesting.
I think it is very interesting too, but even if we look at it from a modern perspective, a modern lens, today we have issues over in Europe, especially where it's quite prevalent with the Just Stop Oil protesters. And really, they're using oil as another revolutionary color throughout that change they're trying to support over there. And really what we're looking at is the use of orange as another, like I said, energetic and rebellious sort of a color that stands out really above the crowd and really displays what they're trying to achieve there. And it really catches the attention because it's an attention-getting color is what it is.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, it's what it is. And that's why it's so popular over there, especially with, like he was saying, Dutch to sports. Really makes them stand out. We can see the correlation and the theme that they're having across the board with that.
Most definitely.
And really it shows really just that it's a useful color. You put it to work, and it shows energy and really striving for something.
And I thought that was really interesting what you said. It's an attention grabber because nowadays traffic cones are orange.
Exactly, yeah.
And many other attention-getting things are orange. And when we actually let me draw this back a little bit. So throughout the Protestant Reformation, or sorry, not Protestant Reformation, Protestant resistance, William Orange and the Netherlands kind of served as a home beacon, as we know, of course.
Yeah.
Because of William Orange's armies over the Catholic King James II. And obviously that led to Orangism, which is a pro-prince movement, and Staggerside, which is a pro-republic movement, which was forced by the Catholics after they realized they lost control in the Netherlands. Now, with orange representing Protestantism, which in a way, with Martin Luther, was a revolution against Catholicism.
Exactly, that's another revolution there.
With the Orange Revolution in Ukraine, it was a revolution against the control of the Eastern Bloc and Russia and a shift more towards the European Union. Again, a revolution and a change. And then nowadays, orange being the primary color of Just Stop Oil, I think it's a very interesting dynamic. It's a revolution against one of the wealthiest industries in our world.
Exactly. So orange is a revolutionary color is really what we're trying to get at here. And really just to sum that all up, throughout history, you go back hundreds of years, and orange has been used time and time again as names, as references, as really just a symbol of what people are trying to achieve. And we look at that, and that's so interesting. And when you look at a color as really what can be seen as simply to the human eye as just a color, just maybe, a phase of light, it really means so much more that symbolically.
So much. It's a dynastic symbol. It is a symbol of iconography for civil disobedience and honestly transition in the Western world, which is unparalleled in honestly many other colors.
Exactly. Yeah, quite frankly, truly.
And then to flip this dynamic on its head, in the Troubles, which we all know in the early 20th century in Ireland, the Catholic Irish donned the color green and revolted against their what they would deem oppressors in the Protestant United Kingdom, who, since they were Protestant, often used orange to represent their cause.
Yes.
Now, that's interesting because orange then became the oppressor, which is an interesting dynamic throughout history. Orange going from the oppressed to the oppressor.
It is. And really, I think we look at that socially, that happens a lot throughout history, that the oppressed becomes the oppressor. And I think it's interesting from a geopolitical standpoint and from a historical lens.
Yes, most definitely. Geopolitically, I think the color orange is really interesting, and we touched on a little bit of that a little bit of this in the geopolitical section.
No, of course.
But now moving on to socio-economically, I think there's no better place to start this than with the spice saffron.
Yes.
Now, saffron is obviously the world's most expensive spice.
It is the most expensive spice.
And that brings with it massive connotations.
It does. So 85 to 90% of all saffron in the world is produced in Iran.
Which, of course, this is interesting.
And what's interesting about this is it actually has to be hand-picked by the people in Iran. And you can't really do it any other way, or it just doesn't work out as well. And I think it's interesting that they have that sort of production over there for really what seems like such a rare and desirable spice. And it's orange, like we said, like we were getting at, and it's so orange over there probably has connotations of wealth and power and really sort of a value to it, quite frankly, if we look at it that way.
Yeah, and not only that, but the creation of saffron, primarily being in Iran, I think personally is extremely interesting.
I completely
seeing
agree.
as the current geopolitical, now this is where we see that socioeconomics and geopolitics often tie in together. The United States is currently at war with Iran.
Yes.
Which, however you want to view it, but the United States is the more powerful nation in this context.
Yes.
And Iran, the producers of saffron, the producers of the orange spice, which is the most expensive in the world, are, metaphorically at least, the oppressed. Now, this isn't to dive into exactly who's right and wrong. As an American, I of course I'm going to support my country, but orange flipping back after the Troubles from being the oppressor to metaphorically being the oppressed. That's an interesting concept there.
It is interesting, and I think, like you said, especially socio-economically, I really can't stress enough the perceived value of orange over there that must have, and the effect.
It's a prosperity gospel.
It is a prosperity gospel, yes, 100%. It's an icon, an idol, if you will, of prosperity.
And that prosperity creates immense social stratification.
It does.
It separates people. Saffron being such a valuable thing, and it truly rips people apart.
It really ionizes some of those higher ups.
Yes, most definitely. And then, and again, what I would consider immense social stratification is Protestantism, which was this revolution that was represented by the color orange. As it's developed, has oftentimes been perceived as less well off and more poverty, honestly.
Yes.
And this is more where that prosperity gospel concept ties into. It's, well, I'm going to preach to you, but why can I do that if I'm hoarding all this wealth?
Yes.
Now, when they use orange to represent themselves, it's really, really interesting. Orange represents this powerful concept in saffron, but also the voice of the oppressed.
Yes.
It's just the juxtaposition in the concepts here are truly enlightening.
I completely agree with you. And the stark contrast between the two, that realistic brutalism that we're seeing there, it's extremely fascinating.
It is. And expanding these concepts a little bit more into the realm of visual art. Orange being a secondary color, distinctly intriguing. Its luminosity, it's not diluted such as those of tertiary colors. It still has that power, but it's compromising, which is unlike primary colors, that being red and yellow. And that's a very interesting push and pull dynamic, such as has been shown geopolitically, socioeconomically, and historically with the color orange.
Exactly. We really dive into this from maybe a sort of a theoretical perspective too, through through a mental lens. We can look at the way the orange gradients between yellow and red, and really what that means to certain individuals.
Wow, that's interesting. And yeah, that's an incredible thing. And I think the word to use this would be a metamorphosis, really powering that liminal space in the intermediary there. See, these colors, these colors from red to yellow, or yellow to red, and red fading into darkness, such as a sunset, is deeply interesting visually to those who are looking at art, but also those who are participating in revolution and waiting for change, because orange seems to represent change.
It does. That really at the root of all of it, what you're going to see as a common theme here is that orange is a color of revolution. It is. And it's also a color of change. It's the sunrise, it's the dawn of new beginnings is what it is.
Absolutely. It's the changing of the leaves. It's the fervor of red transitioning into the optimism of yellow. It's hunger, but it's also the lack of hunger because the harvest has arrived. It's such an interesting color that we see poetically in music, literature, and just writing in general.
It's growth, but also yet decay.
Absolutely. I love that. Yes.
It's beautiful. It's poetic irony at its finest.
It is. And honestly, when we had established that we are going to discuss orange, I can't say I fully realized the power that the symbol orange has behind it.
No, I completely agree with you. Because really, to the bare naked eye, what you're looking at here really is just a color. Really, if you don't dive into it. But as with all things, if you really start to excavate the foundations of what we're working with,
a cerebral excavation, if you will.
Yes, exactly, cerebral excavation. I love that. It's a powerful phrase.
It is a powerful phrase.
And if we really delve into it, what we're working with here is a dissection of the innermost meanings of these wavelengths.
Most definitely.
And really, as a little process through human minds throughout time, quite frankly, it means so much. And really, it's a beautiful thing how humans, us as a species, can really extrapolate the data and the rhythms and the patterns and the history to make a fully formed opinion, or maybe even not a fully formed opinion, really just a basic understanding of just how powerful something is. Just begin to try to grasp that.
And just to tie all this back, when we're analyzing orange conceptually, and then we get to the spiritual realm, there's more dynastic juxtaposition in 100%. This symbol that is orange. Now, see, in Hinduism, Buddhism, and Sikhism, it often represents a renunciation and detachment from worldly life. See, monks wear it, ascetics wear it, and those obviously being people that are abstaining from worldly possessions and trying to seek a higher meaning, which is deeply interesting and obviously ties back into a revolution and change and growth
and this mortal realm. Yes.
Absolutely. And conceptually, orange is just so powerful. And those concepts tie so well into our last of our 4 topics when examining examining orange, that being conceptually, socio-economically, geopolitically, but also rhythmatically. You see, orange is, like we've said, a representation of change. The leaves changing colors.
Societies throughout history.
Absolutely. Societies throughout history.
Revolutions.
Yeah. And sunrises and sunsets.
Exactly.
See, all these things are cyclical. The rise and fall of kingdoms, swaying like a cozy cant line.
The constant intermotion of these processes.
Absolutely. The dynamic change found in the seasons, the give and take of the harvest.
The circle of life, the rotation of life and death throughout time.
Yeah. Oranges are just... they're so intertwined, the color orange is so intertwined with the rhythmic cycle that is the seasons, and I find that deeply, deeply interesting. The color orange is such a passionate thing.
It is such a passionate thing. It's such an energetic color. Really, there's a lot of energy to it, and we can see how that energy has really made its ripples throughout the lake of the world.
Absolutely. And now moving forward, from the color, more into the fruit. And this is where the geopolitics and socioeconomics
especially, yes,
really get to be, at least what I would say, more interesting than the color even.
I might disagree with you there.
Oh, really?
But let's delve into it.
Yeah, let's delve into it and then
ourselves.
discuss after.
Exactly.
Absolutely. This sounds like a fantastic idea. So, to begin, geopolitically, in California, specifically Southern California, oranges reign supreme.
They do.
In the late 19th century, orange production created a booming economy in California, which this is a California that was reeling from the failure, pretty much, that was the gold rush. Now, oranges brought wealth. Hence why Orange County, California, one of the wealthiest counties in the state, and honestly in the entire country, is named after a fruit which is harvested by cheap labor and migrant workers, which are honestly at the bottom of the totem pole when we talk about socioeconomics, which is deeply interesting and is really another fundamental concept of this give and take and juxtaposition and change that is the color orange.
It really is. And from a historical lens, especially, the oranges that were produced in California, like you said with that boom, really brought a lot of jobs and opportunity to the area. But really, these were some of our poorest workers out there in those fields. And we even look at this like Disney was founded in an orange field.
It was.
And that's culturally significant, is what that is.
Mm-hmm.
For a lot of the farmers in the area and a lot of the people that got wealthy off that became a major experience.
Oranges are a dynastic symbol of change, vulnerability, and juxtaposition of class and struggle.
But also time and time again, wealth. Again, with the saffron, we tied it back to the oranges in California.
Yes, most definitely. I do like that. The saffron being such a powerful substance, and the orange economy and fruit economy of Southern California being so powerful as well.
The citrus has such a strong fist on California, especially back in those days. I mean, really, you wouldn't have much an economy there without it.
Absolutely. After the gold rush, California was reeling, and they found their footing in the citrus economy.
Exactly. That was the final jab of medicine that California needed to get their economy back on the rails.
Absolutely. And delving deeper into the geopolitical and socioeconomic setting in which the fruit oranges find themselves, in Palestine, in the late 19th century, Great Britain used them as a producer of oranges primarily. They produced more oranges than anywhere else on the planet. And then after World War II, when Israeli Zionists moved in, they still forced Palestinians to grow oranges, which is deeply, deeply interesting, as Palestinians viewed this as losing of control, and Israeli Zionists viewed this as gaining power over a subjugated population. And yet again, we see that those who are being subjugated are taking orange and oranges as a symbol to represent themselves. There are mirrors in Gaza and in the West Bank to this day of oranges and the power in which they held in that region.
It really is such a powerful symbol. Throughout the world, we see it time and time again. The fruit, the color, and really just the energy that orange carries.
It truly carries energy.
It's a beautiful, yet also kind of a mentally jarring thing to discover.
It is, absolutely. And tying it back into change as well, the change from Palestine to Israel and that conflict represented by orange is very on brand and truly beautiful.
It is. It's a beautiful thing. It really is.
The iconography of it is.
The iconography of it, like you said, and it's really just such a dynamic structure. It's such a dynamic ecosystem that we're looking at here. How these things, they play together, and we really just extrapolate that data and build a fully formed opinion on really what orange is.
Absolutely. And I think what orange is in Palestine and California is much like what the fruit industry historically has been like in the world.
Yeah.
As we all know, throughout the 20th century, banana republics, or the term banana republic, became synonymous with coups, CIA involvements, instability, and also left-leaning ideals. Now, that's a struggle for power from those who have none. Places that were subjugated by the fruit industry fought back and then were oppressed by the United States, much like how the Palestinians were oppressed by the Israelis, how the Ukrainians were oppressed by the Soviets, how the migrant workers were oppressed by the economically well-off Californians, how the Protestants were oppressed by the Catholics. It's a constant give and take of oppression and upheaval that orange clearly represents.
Yes, and time again, just like as Quinn was saying, orange is a revolution in of itself.
Beautiful. Beautiful, yes.
It really is.
Presenting the color orange is a revolution, and it's a fight back against the extreme.
It is.
Now, rhythmatically, the fruit orange, I think I can put this pretty simply. Oranges are a fruit. So they grow, live, and die on the rhythmic cycle that is the seasons.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I mean, and then you have the fall where things, they wither, they die over time, but they come back in a new sort of a life. That really, so you have the literal orange, which comes and it shows up and it spreads throughout those trees, and it crispifies and it crumbles to the ground is what it does. But then you also have the metaphorical orange in the spring and the winter, where it comes back, that sunrise, that new dawn of life. The metaphorical orange is life comes back into these sorts of creatures and these ecosystems that we're seeing. And it really is just a cycle between the metaphorical and the metaphysical. And those turn in and out between each other across time.
Absolutely. And we know that orange represents change, revolution, but also we know that orange is a cycle. Yes. It's the give and take of the universe. And at several points, we find that orange has represented the powerful. See, in the United Kingdom, when they were oppressing Ireland, their Protestant ways were shown as orange, and the Catholic ways were shown as green, even though orange was the oppressor. And we found that several other times in our research, that orange became the oppressor after being the oppressed. And one of the most interesting concepts of this, I know, is in Vietnam with the use of Agent Orange.
I would say so. And really, the way this affected these soldiers, American soldiers, really was how it affected their health and their lives. And it really changed the lives of quite a few of these people, coming back with the social connotation of what orange was and the disgrace that they felt returning to their home country. We can really look at just exactly how really orange can make certain people feel based on personal experiences and historical lenses.
Absolutely. It's just that orange being the oppressor.
Yes, orange being the oppressor of these people's health and life.
Absolutely. And how does that come about?
How does that come about?
Would you say? Because orange is such a powerful revolutionary fight back against the man.
It is.
Yet in these few moments in history, it becomes the oppressor.
If we look at this spiritually, if we delve into the spiritual side of this, it could be the essence of life, fighting against back the cruelty of humans.
Really? Could you please extrapolate on this point?
So we have the cruelty of war. the cruelty of war, and really the divisiveness and the stark brutalism of what war is. And if we delve into that, life really, like Mother Nature or what Buddhists would use, as that essence, what if it's fighting back, revolutionizing, if you will, against the cruelty of war and against the cruelty of humans against each other?
Interesting. See,
maybe that's the orange.
I think that the concepts that allow orange to represent the oppressors is actually more of the same concepts that allowed Franco, Mussolini, and Hitler to take power. You see, these are individuals that gained prominence in their respective nations under I'm not going to say oppression, because these are horrible individuals who did awful things and oppressed people. But through struggle, they fought back against struggle, and
they did.
Orange maybe not so much represented them, but they found themselves as the oppressed and then turned themselves into the oppressors and hurt those in nations around them and their own nations, which is very similar to how orange, saffron, the Protestants in the Troubles and California, and as well as Vietnam, also found themselves attempting to fight out of oppression and becoming the oppressors.
Yes. And once again, it's a cycle, is what it is. It's a cycle between the oppressed and the oppressor and the oppressed. Really just a cat and mouse game of things going on here.
Absolutely.
Throughout history.
Absolutely. So sum up to sum up our summary.
Yeah, really just wrap this all up.
Of what analyzing orange conceptually, rhythmatically, socioeconomically, and of course,
geopolitically,
is orange is change, revolution, reform, and revolution again. It creates a cycle and a rhythm.
It does.
And now that we've come up with we've really delved deep and cerebrally excavated the context and setting with which orange and oranges exist. Do you believe that the color orange or the fruit orange is more conceptually interesting?
More conceptually interesting. That's such a dynamic question.
It is.
Because if we look at it through the whole historical lens, the color, the fruit, I would honestly say is more interesting.
Really? Why would you argue that?
Because if we look at the socio-economic side of it, the oranges played a deciding factor in a physical way. But also the sociological side of things is also so important to culture and to humans as a species, and also as a concept.
We're getting really low.
We are getting really low. Maybe scoot back up a little bit. But see, it's just so... Wow, it's just such a good question. What is more interesting?
Now, I understand where you're coming from, talking about the tangibility. Mm-hmm. No pun intended, tangerine orange. The tangibility of the physical fruit orange. However, I think the color, analyzing it conceptually, the spirituality of it, the artisan nature of it, and leaving it up to the interpretation, I think is so conceptually intricate, dynamic, and iconographic, that it's just, I can't imagine arguing for the fruit itself.
See, I think it's important that we tie these two things together.
Absolutely, because it's truly almost coincidental that they somehow represent the same thing, both the color and the fruit.
Exactly, and you can't have one without the other, quite frankly. If you try to tear the two apart, you're really left with nothing but a bag of sticks.
Absolutely. And of course, we are 34 minutes into the cerebral excavation.
We are.
And we haven't addressed the age-old question, which came first, the orange or the orange?
And this is such a beautiful question.
It's such a beautiful question because it brings us through anthropology.
It does. And it brings us to a really scientific perspective, but also through a language perspective.
The views with which... I got it. The way with which humans view the world around them is so pragmatic that, of course, we did not see a color and name the color.
Yes.
That gains no help for us in survival. But we did see a fruit. Name the fruit because that fruit brings survival and revolution against nature. And then we found that we can connect that to a color.
Yes.
Which is so fascinating.
It really is fascinating, especially from a survival standpoint, like you were saying, as a species.
Absolutely.
It really is. But I think it just makes sense, really, when we think about it through that sort of a lens, that of course the fruit came first.
Of course.
Of course, even just scientifically speaking. Language changes throughout time. That's a thing that us as a species we've struggled with. And to assume the phrase, the color came first, really when we're assigning the name to the color, we're really just referring to the word or the phrase orange. You know what I mean? Because the color is a perception in a scientific lens. But the fruit, in a literal and physical state, we can understand as the fruit in its own essence. When orange, as a color, is more conceptual.
Conceptuality.
It's a complicated...
It is.
It's a beautiful thing. It really is. But it takes a lot to try to grasp that.
And I think that analyzing orange, both the fruit and the color, rhythmatically will really help us in this pursuit. Because humans have a rhythm and a pace with which curiosity and discovery seem to prevail.
Yes.
There's a framework that works its way through time that you can see everywhere, and a curiosity, much like where we find in the chicken and the egg. Can we this is a little off topic, but Owen, do you believe that we can apply the same rhythmatic concepts found in the naming of orange to the chicken and the egg argument? I'm curious.
I would say the arguments themselves are similar in structure. And I think it'd be hard to decide without truly trying to extrapolate this and really try to put this to the test first.
Absolutely.
So, I'll take one side of this. I'll take the chicken and the egg side, and you take the orange, and we'll try to mesh these together.
Okay. Well, analyzing oranges, the orange came first, and then the color.
Yeah.
We already established that. But why is that? Because the life, the thing that is alive, creating substance in this world, must be named, because that provides assistance and benefit to the namers.
Exactly.
And then later, we found the benefit that the color represents.
And for the chicken and the egg argument, it's similar in the way that the life comes from the chicken. And that's the beginning of the cycle.
Interesting. That's an interesting point, because a chicken can be a chicken.
Yes.
And a chicken can breed with another kind of bird.
Yes.
And the egg they produce will not be a chicken.
Exactly.
So I'm actually going to have to disagree with you on that.
You're going to disagree with me on
I
that.
believe that the egg came before the chicken. Take, for example, a liger. A lion, tiger. That's a lion bred with a tiger. They create a liger.
But are they able to breed with other species?
They are. That's actually a proven fact.
Is it really?
Yes.
That's quite interesting.
Ligers exist. It's actually not a very good thing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like a very good thing.
No. Anyway, and mammal, though those are mammals, they still have eggs, and I would presume that egg would be considered a liger egg, even if it is in a tiger mother, because it was fertilized with a lion.
Yes.
Now, that is distinctly interesting in the chicken and the egg argument, because two chickens, or two almost chickens, had to fertilize an egg to make that egg be an actual chicken.
You have a fair point there. And you know what? I think you've changed your mind.
Really?
I believe so. Thank you.
So, not only have we concluded that the chicken came second only to the egg, but we have also concluded that the orange fruit named the orange color. Interesting.
This is very interesting.
And I think that's what cerebral excavations are all about.
I think it really is really delving in to every aspect, every perspective, and really sort of attacking it from all angles to understand a deeper understanding of what we're trying to look at here.
Yeah. And to sum all of this up again, orange, like we found, being able to apply these concepts, these rhythmatic geopolitical concepts, to the chicken and the egg question, we can understand that orange represents revolution, change,
100%,
and rhythm in society.
It does. Orange is a revolutionary color.
Do you have anything else you would like to add?
Anything else I'd like to add? Wow. Well, there's so many things we could go on forever.
We absolutely could. Do you have anything really on top of brain?
Really on top of the brain. Just orange as a social construct.
It's beautiful.
To me.
It's beautiful.
It is.
And those dynamics between oppression and oppressed.
And historically, I love to look at it through a historic lens, because time and time again, we're seeing that really anything new. I couldn't really come up with anything. If you want to take the camera for a second, just for a minute. And so, as we end our conversation today, well, friends, I'd just like to invite you to really implore upon yourselves what we discussed here today. What does orange mean to you?
Tell us your thoughts.
We'd love to hear them. And really, it's a beautiful thing. Think about what we said about historically, some of the arguments we made about even like the chicken and the egg, about that, and think about like Iran and socio-economically. There's a lot to think about. And as you sit at home, as you fall asleep, just think about orange. Maybe look at some orange things in your home surrounding you, and think about socially, or even just metaphysically or theoretically, what kind of standing that has.
Absolutely. I'm Quinn.
And I'm Owen.
And these have been Cerebral Excavations. Have a great day.